Well, hello. Welcome everyone to the talk. Thank you for coming. So my name, as Ruben said, I'm Ferran. I'm working at Hybrid Theory as a full stack developer, along with Alberto. So I do Python on the back end, and unfortunately JavaScript on the front end. So if you want to say anything to me on Twitter, just at Mr. Swats. So what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about Telegram bots and how to implement a Telegram bot in Python and how to deploy it in production using Heroku, which is a very nice platform. So first we're talking about the requirements. What do we need to set up this bot? Of course we need Python. We'll take a brief look onto Telegram bots, how do they work, how to interact with bots, and then to see what the capabilities are of these bots, which is not small. Then I will show you, when working on these slides for the company previously, I ended up developing like a template for these kind of bots, which very quickly you can set up, clone, and very quickly be up and running. And then we'll talk a bit about Heroku, which is a platform as a service platform to be able to with a couple of commands run any code actually. You can run Django, you can run workers, you can run anything actually. And then, since I don't want to do manual work every time I do a small change, we will see how to automate everything so that we can just push and everything magically works. So how I started doing Telegram bots, actually, it's very simple. I was bored. I was looking for a job at the moment, and with a group of friends I said, oh, this looked like fun, and I think on a previous group on WhatsApp or whatever we had a very janky bot as well, and said, hey, I'm gonna do that because why not? I don't have literally anything better to do. So I started looking up to options, and it was a time in which I finished my Ph.D, so I was looking for a job and I was trying to break through into Python programming as well. So I said, well, this looks fun. And it started everything there, and then from there it evolved, and then all of a sudden I said, hey, I'm gonna do this very silly bot. Oh, this is fun, and on the process of making more and more bots, I streamlined the process of actually creating them, and so I ended up with a template I will show afterwards. So basically, yeah, it's boredom, fun, and with this very simple setup, you can really implement anything, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So what do we need? There we go. So first, of course, we need a Telegram account because we will be working on Telegram and we need to send message on Telegram. We will also need a Heroku account for that because we need to create what they call, I think, an app. Then I use GitLab for hosting my code and for CI/CD for continuous integration, so automation in general. So, but you can do that in GitHub as well. You can use any platform that allows you to run code every time you push. So, but this is how I did it. But feel free to modify and use it in any of your platforms of use. And then, of course, we'll need Git, we will need Python, and we need a code editor. Nothing too fancy here. So let's take a look first at Telegram bots, what they are and how they work. So, of course, as maybe you know or not, Telegram is a messaging platform that allows you to speak with other people. And as of, I don't know, bots have been around for a very long time in Telegram, but you can also talk to bots. And bots allow you to do things that humans cannot usually, or takes a very long time. For example, looking for pics, sending GIFs directly from your chat. There are bots for games, there are bots for doing payments, there are bots for, of course, the moment you put code in anything, you can do absolutely anything. And of course, we also have the bot father, very, very important piece of the whole thing, right? Because this is the bot that will allow us to create more bots. As the name implies, it's the bot father, so it's the father of all bots. And so what first we need to do is to talk to bot father to create a bot, and he will give us the things we need, in particular the API, the API token. How can we talk to bots? How can we interact with the Telegram platform? Well, Telegram offers a very nice set of APIs in which you can send a request to, and they will send a message through a bot. You can also add a webhook to receive messages and so on. So this is I don't know if you there at the back can see, but I will share the slides with the organizers so you can take a look at home. But basically, this is the basic setup for creating a bot. You just talk to Fatherbot, send a command, which is a message that starts with a /new bot, and then it will say, hey, what's the name of the new bot? And you say the name, and then you put a count name and say, okay, fine, cool. This is the Telegram has a very nice way of interacting with accounts. You can write t.me/ and the name of your account or of the bot, and you can access directly. You can go directly to the conversation. So it will send you this link, and also very important, the HTTP API token, which we will need for later. So what else we have here? So basically, the ways of interacting with bots are mainly two, which are through commands, as we did with the Fatherbot, which is / and the name of the command, as you can see here. If you set up things correctly, you should see a list of commands that you can send to the bot. Of course, you have to implement them in your code, right? But Telegram allows you to have this nice interface. And then we have the inline settings. This is, for example, a bit bot in which you can send, in an empty message, you can send @name of the bot, and then send a query, and the bot will process this and do things. In this case, for example, we'll look for videos in, I don't know, I guess bit, I don't know. But you can also send pictures, you can also send GIFs, you can also send YouTube videos. You can, it's really cool. I'll show you some bots I did with inline, which is very, very cool. And so then we get to the Python part, to the coding part. There are few libraries for interacting with the Python API. Of course, we could just send requests to the API, but I mean, it's a very big API. There's a lot of objects you have to know and things to parse. So it's much easier to have to get a wrapper like Python Telegram bot that does everything for you. It actually sets up as well a server for your bot, so you don't have to. And yeah, it's fantastic. I've been using it from day one, and it's really, really easy. They are now on version 14, I think, or 15, I don't know. And it has implemented a lot of very nice features like asynchronous communication, persistent data. You can it's very nice. I would encourage you all to take a look at the documentation. It's very well documented as well. So and it's very easy to get started. So before continuing, let's see what this template offers. So we know what files we will have to work on. So we have the usual Git stuff, which is the git ignore, the license, and the README. And then we have a GitLab CI and a proc file, which we will look later. This is for the deploying and automation part. And then we have a proc file and a poetry.log, which is I'm using I love poetry, the Python package manager, and so you'll have to deal with it. But it's very nice. There are all the instructions in the README, so don't worry too much about it. And then we have the main file that bot.py. But of course, this is a very single file bot that actually says nothing. But you can complicate this as much as you want. So yeah, go nuts. So when we take a look first at the Python Telegram bot library, this is the first example, like the hello world but in bot example, right? So we import some things, we define a callback. A callback is a function that will be called when something else happens. In this case, we will define a command callback that when we send to this bot /hello command, it will call this function, and this function will be executed and do whatever this function does. In this case, it will reply to your text with hello, your name. And then we have the updater, which is the built-in this library server, which will take your API key and we'll run in the background waiting for messages, like polling the API to see if there are new messages. And yeah, we then just add the handler for this function, and then we start polling and we idle. And this is mostly it. Like what my template offers on top of this is some niceties, some setup logging. I will show you in a bit, and just making it easier for you to set up in particular in Heroku. And yeah, basically this is it. So this is a very silly bot that I did after talking to some colleagues, which is just a bot that tells you whether you need to, if you should or not use Kubernetes, right? So in here we just import some things. I'm using this .env package, which just reads some literally .env file in your directory, which is very useful for importing. It mocks like the environment variables and so on, so you don't have to hard code them or import them into your shell, which is kind of annoying. And in this particular case, I'm setting random.sit, and then we set up some logging, which the library also uses. So it's very nice to have some nice logging from the library as well, because you can see what messages are coming in or out, or what's happening with the bot, right? And then we have some environment variables, mainly the Telegram API token, this webhook URL, which I will talk later, and then the port in which we have to listen to. And then this is the main callback, which is just a random choice of words, of course. But for those wondering, no, you should almost never use Kubernetes. But I don't know, I'm just a developer, right? But yeah, basically it just picks something at random and then sends a reply text as before. And then here we have like the setup for Heroku, which is here we have first we check if this env variable exists, which it does. We start setting a webhook, so we're telling the API of Telegram, hey, I am this bot here, send me the request in this URL address, of course with some configuration. But if we are not in this env, which I labeled this for the production environment in Heroku, so for example, for running the bot locally, we just start polling as usual, and that's it. And of course, we register first our callback on the top, and we are set. So one thing that we have to take into account: why cannot we start polling in Heroku? Well, there's actually there's a free tier in Heroku, which it limits you to 1,000 hours, I think. But of course, this is a process that keeps running in your machine. So if you would like set this up in Heroku, it would consume all the hours, and you would not do anything else. And actually, this is a much better way. Like setting a webhook, it's a much better, much cleaner way of setting up your applications that have to listen to an API, right? So now we've seen the setup for our bot. We've seen the coding part, the Python part. Now let's see what do we need in order to deploy this bot to Heroku. Just one thing, we need here to listen to all addresses, as this 000 implies, and then this webhook URL which we will set up from Heroku itself, and then we have to slash the Telegram API token again. This is setup that this comes actually from the library documentation. It has a very nice section on how to do this. So this is nothing I invented actually. So as I said, Heroku is a platform as a service that allows you to run programs on the web. It will create like a kind of container that you can run things in, and it runs on Amazon Web Services. So it also allows you to access the S3 or the S. You can set up Redis. You can set up. There are a few things that are managed by Heroku which are very, very easy and very, very nice to set up. But of course, you're running on AWS, so you can interact this within AWS. I don't know how. I haven't tried, but this is something in which, in theory, you could do, right? You can define everything as files, so you don't have to remember any commands. Or I guess the setup you can do also through the UI, but it's really nice overall. And of course you need a proc file to run your application, in which you tell Heroku, hey, run this command. And you can do this all on the CLI as well if you want, which I really appreciate and really like. So first of all, we need to create this Heroku app. So this is the command, Heroku apps :create, and then the name of your application. And it will run for a few seconds and then return these two URLs. One is a URL to your application, so you can access already your application. Of course, if you try to access your application but there's nothing running, it will say Heroku, hey, I don't know what is this. And one of the very nice things about Heroku is that it allows you to deploy actually your code using Git push. So this is what the second address is here. And so you can actually set up your Git repo to actually push into Heroku and automatically deploy your code. This is very nice, but of course you will have to sync your, in this case, GitLab in my case, or GitHub or whatever with Heroku, which can be a bit annoying because, well, it's two things you have to maintain, right? And so after this, we need two important things. First is the Python build pack, which we're telling Heroku, hey, I'm running a Python application, so please install Python in this stack, runtime, whatever. And then I'm using a community-based build pack, which is Poetry, which installs the dependencies, in this case the library or whatever dependencies you want, as in the environment. And so you don't have to. I mean, I used, before this was available, what you have to do is export the requirements in the file, and then you have to, it's a bit more messy, and it works very nicely, and apparently they are working on like owning this build pack, but it works very nicely. Oh, I thought I put the URLs. Well, if you look for build pack Heroku Poetry, you will find it very quickly. It has a lot of stars, it's very nice, so yeah. What else? So of course, as you've seen before, we need some environment variables, which are basically the Telegram API key, the webhook URL, and this env variable that I created for telling the bot, hey, run this in webhook mode. And of course, this webhook URL is this one here, the first one that Heroku sends, the ones that end in herokuapp.com. So note it down because we will need it for later. And so to set up a variable, it just is as Heroku config :set var name equals and your variable value. Sounds like bash to me. And yeah, we need to set these things. This one is not the env variable. The env one is not important. The value it has, it just has to have a value. So that Python says, okay, there is a value here, and I'm using webhook mode, right? And so finally, as I mentioned before, the proc file, this mysterious file that was in the repo, it's what we are telling Heroku how to run our bot. In this case, we're running a web dyno because we're running a web server. So Python Telegram bot, as I said, implements a server in Twisted, I think. So we are expecting it to run a web service of sorts, right? And yeah, there's another kind of worker in Heroku, which is a worker, literally worker, and it's meant to run like one-off scripts maybe or stuff like this. And I think if you try to run the local mode in web, it will crash because it will not have bound to any port. It will not. Heroku will detect that you haven't started any process, so it will say, I don't see anything here, and will stop. And then we have to just run the bot as we would locally. And finally, the deploy part. Well, we actually have already deployed the bot if we have done git push Heroku main, but of course we can automate this, so we can have a very nice interface with GitLab or GitHub interface to see our code, to share our code. But doing git push and setting up the repo inside the CI/CD tools is a bit, I don't know, complicated, I guess. It's a bit of a mess. And I did not have patience for debugging CI/CD. It's always a nightmare. So there is this very cool tool built in Ruby called DPL, which allows us to deploy our code directly into Heroku. It actually also works for other platforms, but I used it only for DPL. But it's very cool as well. So in here we will see the very simple way to deploy the things. And this is the GitLab CI example, in which we will run in a container, and we just need to install DPL. In this case, I had to install this Faraday dependency and fixed it to a version. I don't know what was going on. I will probably take a look and see what's going on, but I don't know. And then we just need to run the DPL command with the provider Heroku, and then provide the app name, which we set up when we created the app, and the Heroku API key, and we were done. Of course, this only runs the deploy stage, but you could write tests for this bot, or for any bot or any code, or run any, I don't know, formatting checks or linter checks or anything you want before this, and then you can deploy it. But yeah, it's very simple, and GitLab CI is wonderful. I love it very much. And yeah, we're done. Like, we have our bot up and running in Heroku. Hopefully, if everything went well, the error messages are very nice, so it's not hard to debug what's going on. And yeah, our bot is working, so we should, in theory, be able to go into Telegram and send a command or send whatever we have set up in the bot, and it should probably respond. So that's it. Thank you very much. Questions?
I have a question. You said that there's different types of bots. Do you have to choose what type of bot you want to make up front, or can your bot become any kind, like an inline bot?
No, you can actually choose what kind of bot. No, you don't have to decide up front. Yeah, there's some setup you have to do if you want to run your bots as inline. You have to allow your bot to be able to read inline queries, which you do through the bot father. But other than that, like, you can implement anything. At most, you will not get a response, and you will wonder why. And then you go check out the documentation. It will tell you, hey, you have to activate this option and this option in bot father, and you're done. But not like you can implement later an inline bot, or you can implement it right away. It's a matter of implementation, not the type. Like, Telegram doesn't distinguish between inline bots and regular bots when you create one, or the existence of bots are not bound to these two categories.
And the second question, if you want to have this channel that only does one thing, and let's say every 9 a.m. gives you the weather, whatever, would then the setup be that there's one user only, and that user is a bot? Is that how this works?
With channels, I don't know. I think you can send, I'm not entirely sure, but I think you could have a bot inside, like, allow your channel to be sent messages through the bot, and then you can, like, program the bot so that it sends updates to the channel. But actually, I don't know. I haven't tried that yet. But I guess so. So. Ah, good. So I don't know if you all heard that, but you need to make the bot. You have to give some permissions. I don't know if you need to be. It needs to be admin. Right now, the permissions on channels and groups are a bit more fine-grained, but you have to give some permissions to the bot to be able to send channels. As far as I remember, I did my first bot that I was talking at the beginning. It would respond to messages, not only commands. So for that, you also need you need to activate a privacy setting, I think, to be able to read the commands. Of course, it will receive an update every time someone sends a message, but it's possible in theory. So yeah, thank you.
So I tried writing a Telegram bot some months ago for my group of friends, and I did it using the raw API that Telegram provides.
Mm-hmm.
And the bot was a very simple one. It just needed to count the number of messages that every person in the group had sent in the last 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I struggled the most was with actually having these messages that had been in the conversation, because the API did not provide like a way for you to have a list of messages. I think it only sent events for each message that happened, so I had to listen to each one of them, and then make some counters. Do you know if this framework or this library that you were using can provide something like that?
I think this library, the Python Telegram bot library, is just a wrapper around the API. So it uses, I think it uses requests and twisted to run, but and it like maps all the objects that the API sends to a Python object, so you can access them through the dot notation. But otherwise, I don't think it does anything extra other than the API does. Besides, well, the thing extra that it does is the web server that it allows you to run the bot in production or whatever.
That's very nice.
But yeah, I mean, only for that it's very convenient. But other than that, I don't think it does. So I think the only way you could do that is maybe, I don't know, storing the messages in some Redis and then count them at the end of the day or something on these lines. But it would require you to have a worker or something like watching the messages and storing them somewhere else before you can count them. But yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, what kind of control do you have over where this bot is used? Like, for example, how do people install this bot in channels, and how can you ban certain channels? Because you could be DOS if you have a small server and somebody installs in a very busy channel.
Yeah.
What kind of control do you have?
Yeah. So there are like different ways to interact with the bot. Whether you want to interact it like individually, like a bot. User bot account is just another regular bot Telegram account. It will tell you, hey, I'm a bot, so I'm a bot, just be aware. But you can chat with the bot like you have like any other individual chat. And of course, with inline bots, you don't need to import them or add them to your conversations. You can just add your bot. I think I have. Do we have time? What I don't. Yeah. I can show you a few of my bots with a bit of demo, and we can check it out if I manage to share the screen. Think about it. and yeah, like on one-to-one, it's very easy because you can just inline bots. You can call them directly with regular command-based bots. You can talk them one-to-one. If you want to add, you can add a bot to a group, and it will and Telegram UI will put like a slash icon on the bottom right and tell you, hey, these are the commands available for these bots in this group, and you can send a message and the bot will respond normally. Like you don't need to do anything else, so to speak. There are other bots that, for example, keep a tally on the users and, for example, would send a message every day at 9 a.m., for example, with the weather. There was a very nice bot a long time ago that stopped working, unfortunately. But it would keep a database of the users that it had to send. But this is all an implementation detail of the bot, not something that the Telegram API directly controls.
Yeah, but I was thinking more as a bot owner, what control do you have to not be added?
Yes, yeah, that's right. The other question, yes. You can, I think Telegram provides an API for that, so you can pass. I don't remember the exact method. It's all in the documentation. It's very nice, the documentation. So I encourage you to look through the documentation. But there is a way to only respond to certain users, or to ban certain channels, or only be allowed to add from certain users. Or there's a bit of control in there. So yeah. Yes.
Yeah, there's also little interfaces in bots. When you start the bot, you can select the command.
Mm-hmm.
And do we have to do something different to get that interface?
Yes, I haven't covered all the features of bots, of course, because there are many, and there is even a payment system like within Telegram, which is kind of crazy, honestly. And there's a lot of, I don't know what they are called, but they are like kind of keyboards that you can set up, and they are like in the chat that you can press and do other things. And what was your question again? Sorry.
Like, do we have to do something different, or is it?
The UI, yes. You have to talk to bot father to set up the list of commands, for example, but that you can only do that for the list of commands, because if there is a keyboard on screen or the inline query, you can usually do only one thing, I think. I haven't touched that much recently, but I think it's something along these lines. You can set up the screen keyboard that appears within the chat, and you can like set a list of commands, but that's about it as far as I know. Again, the API, the Telegram API documentation for bots is very well written and it's very clear, so it's very easy to find things as well. So. Okay, so I guess, yes?
What kind of bots have you implemented? Which one would you say has the most interesting functionality?
I've mostly implemented very silly bots, like the one of like the Kubernetes one, or yeah. I actually was about to show you, if I can show the screen for Telegram, some of these bots, but other than that, you can really, yeah. So yeah, let's see if I can manage to do so. Though I am not really sure how to do this, because this is a screen. És veritat. Espera, doncs...
Aquest és a punt de fer-te la pregunta si tenies un V2 final, i veig que sí. Estic orgullós de tu.
Ara he perdut la finestra. Aquí.
No sé si et deixarà triar l'escriptori.
Net escriptori. Vaig a treure això.
Ara s'ha apagat.
Sí.
Ara s'ho aïllo, que és el que hi havia.
Escriptori. Aquí.
I has de donar
Sí.
Google.
Permisos. Però Google Chrome ja tenia permisos.
Si els perd cada cop que s'actualitza.
Potser és això.
Sí, és que ens passa cada 2 per 3 quan tenim...
Sí. Te les pull records aquí de la feina. No, això no. Net, font, escriptori, això... Hey! We did it!
Sí, es veu el teu...
Yes, awesome. So this is one, I prepared this for this talk, and many of these bots are in Catalan, because I said there's not enough technology in Catalan, so I wrote them in Catalan. For example, this is one of the recent ones in which you send a command. In this case, you send dia, and oh yeah, I forgot to mention one thing, but it will send you a meme every day of the week. Of course, on Thursdays is what a concept, and of course on Wednesdays is what a week, and so on. Feel free to call this bot. You can, the name of the bot is dia_the_la_setmana_bot. All the user bots accounts have to end with bot. So this is something that you have to take into account, and you can access t.me/ the username if you want to interact with it. One thing I forgot to mention about Heroku is that the free tier dynos, which are these containers/runtime that Heroku provides for free, sleep after 30 minutes. So if you call the bot after 30 minutes, it will, as you saw, it would take several seconds for it to start and talk to the API and set up the webhook and so on. But after that, it's awake. So you can actually send many different commands, and it will reply fairly quickly. Yes?
Now is it consuming resources from those 1,000 hours?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but I mean,
Until it sleeps, or?
Yeah, it will sleep after 30 minutes of inactivity.
And then it stops consuming? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
But actually, you can like a month. I think it has way less than 1,000 hours. I think. So you actually have these many. I mean, they do not get many traffic. So by the amount of traffic that you, I mean, if you really preview, you see that you might have a lot of traffic. Maybe it's worth paying the I think it's called the the first year payment account, which is €7 a month for a limited time. It will never sleep and so on. And this is one of the most recent ones I really like as well, which will tell you the what time the sun sets, the sun rises, and the length of the solar day and the noonday. Of course, now it was sleeping, but then actually this bot queries another API to format the message, to extract the information, format the message, and send this data to you. And this bot, for example, has two commands. We have info and nitodia, in which it will tell you whether it's day or night, or in other words, whether the sun has set or not. I have to figure out a couple of things with time zones. Time zones are always a problem. and so maybe the sun hasn't set yet, or maybe it has, or I don't know. It might be 1 hour off. And of course, with the daylight savings upon us, I think it's this weekend or next weekend. So I'll have to take a look. But yeah, I mean, it's really fun.
It's 1 hour off.
Huh?
It's 1 hour off.
Yes, that's what I thought. I never bothered to check. So yeah.
More questions. First, have you tried with other hosting platforms?
I have not. I mean, I was thinking about trying to deploy something to Lambda Amazon, because it's per request billing, so it's very nice. But in theory, with polling should work. But no, I haven't. But it shouldn't be too different. I like Heroku because you can do git push, and from your command line already have something running, and it's very easy to set up as well, and very, very simple. And I know I tried Heroku for the first time when running my first bot, and then I really liked it very much. And for example, my website also runs in Heroku.
Second one?
Yeah.
Can you see the Mogmi one? Looks
Yeah.
interesting. The last one?
I was about to show you this one. Of course, here we have the bot father. See, this is the keyboard menu I was talking about. So here I can access the different settings of the bot, and you can create a bot to check out the different options and see what's going on here. I just don't want to leak anything, just in case. And yeah, this is one of my favorite bots, in which you send a message. This bot actually has both the command and the inline queries, in which you send a message and it will tell you, it will mock you basically. Of course, now it is sleeping, so it will take a few seconds, but in a few seconds it will send you the image, and with some regex magic will send you, which is really fun. And another very cool thing you can do, for example, if we go to, for example, this other bot, so you can see I'm not doing anything fishy. You can add the bot and wait, what's the name of the bot? I forgot. You can see here, it's MockBot. Okay. So you can go to here, call MockBot, and as I press space, you can see there's some prompt here, and it's already suggesting something with the query we sent. In this case, we sent an empty query, so it will just flash to me. But of course, if we again say something, I love again Python Barcelona meetup. Oops. In this case, you do not send the message by pressing. It works like the pick bot or the give bot. You have to click onto the image, and it will send you with the query. And yeah, that's all I mean, if there are any other questions, yes.
You said before that you could also schedule them on like on a cron schedule or something, right? Is that right?
I mean, you can, but this is something that you should do like on the back end, not on the API side.
Okay.
So this is an implementation detail. You can, but of course, to send a message to a person, you will need their user ID, so you'll have to store them somehow on a database or something along these lines. Take into account that Heroku uses an ephemeral file system, so anything that you save on the file system, it will vanish after the 30 minutes or after every time the bot
so you
resets.
have to set up your own database.
Yeah. I mean, you can set an RDS Amazon database from Heroku itself,
Okay.
so it's not that hard. But yeah, it's something that you should do. Like you have to tell the bot, hey, run this at this time.
I have another question. I've seen recently that some bots got hacked, and this is like, good bots were then used for malicious purposes, especially in disinformation and stuff. What do you think these people did wrong, or like what are the vulnerabilities that one should be?
I haven't actually read about it, but of course, as in cybersecurity, like your software is as secure as the weakest link, right? So I don't know, maybe.
What you showed us.
I mean,
not storing the token.
I'm not.
Or
Yeah, for example, exactly. Do not store the API token in Git. That's like cybersecurity 101, or any other sensible information. For example, I think the webhook is something that should be fine because it's kind of public, but it's something I don't feel comfortable either storing that in code, because it's easily changeable, because you can like create a new application in Heroku and deploy actually 2 bots with different names and whatnot with the same code, and it's nice not to have it hard coded in the code. But other than that, yeah, I guess like having your API key that you can access to everything, so you can, okay. So you can access the whole API as the bot. So, and there you're basically fucked because they have access to everything. So as any other API key. And I think they also implement some security measures against DDoS, I think, now that I remember it. So it's possible that you could also get banned, or you could get some warnings or whatever saying, hey, you're sending too many messages or whatever. So, but I haven't read about that. So
but as the owner of the bot, can you still disconnect it? Like,
yeah,
turn it
like you can revoke the API key, and they cannot do anything else. And of course, it's a good practice to rotate your API keys every so often if you think anything fishy could be happening or whatever. But given that, yeah, I mean, it's interesting to steal API keys, I guess, in case for bots that are in many Telegram bot groups. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. Oh, disconnected.
I don't know what happened. If you can do it again.
Yeah.
Will you show us your repository?
Yeah, sure.
Now you-
GitLab. Wait. Look. No, this is the talk. There we go. Yeah, so it's basically what I showed you before. And in the README, you have some instructions how to install, and basically it goes through everything I've talked before, but in written form, which I mean it's very nice, and how to set the configuration and whatnot. But basically, it's this, and with the files I showed you, and you have even the .env example, which is just exporting bash configuration files, variables, and yeah, again, that's pretty much it. Nothing else here. Again, I will share the screens on the slides on Twitter, so you can all have access to them. But actually, they are already accessible publicly. But I'll share the link with the Python Barcelona meetup, so everyone can have them. So let's see. So yeah, any other questions, any other comments, or things? Otherwise, thank you so much for your attention, and